So this is Learning Lab number 79. And today what we're talking about is web apps. So if you tuned in because you're interested in data science web apps, Shiny, actually putting code into production, this is the perfect lab for you. All right. And actually, I'm going to show you something crazy. I made a data science web app in about 15 minutes. And it's actually, a pretty decent app, much more than just a hello world app that you guys told me about. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Let's get started. All right. So give you a little bit of background about this series of presentations that I've been doing on Shiny Web Apps. On July 25th, I attended the RStudio conference, okay? And I learned a lot at RStudio. One of the things I learned is RStudio is actually being renamed Posit. So in October, next month, they're changing their name. That was interesting. I saw a huge panel of speakers while I was there, all right? I was even mentioned in the keynote, which was super insane. That was a personal highlight of my career, being mentioned by Max Kuhn and Julia Silgay as they gave the RStudio conference keynote within the first hour of the entire conference. That was amazing. But also for you guys, I learned a ton of new features about Shiny web applications, and I'm going to be talking about them in this series. And this is the second part of that series. All right. So today is all about the new features of Shiny. All right, guys. And I do have a big promise for today. So you guys are tuning in, and I want to get, if I don't do anything else, this is the number one thing that I want you guys leaving this presentation today with, all right? I'm going to show you exactly how to build a Shiny app in under 15 minutes, okay? And I've never done this before, guys. This is brand new to me. Honestly, I'm a little nervous, but I'm more excited about it. I've never done a live Shiny app tutorial where I've tried to compress an app into 15 minutes, but I think we can do it today with your help, okay? Does that sound cool, guys? Is that cool? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Is that fair? All right, cool. All right, before we dive in, guys, I have a free gift for everybody on this call with me today. So you are getting a free gift for making an investment in your education. It's called the Ultimate R Cheat Sheet, and this is an insane productivity booster. All right, here's what it does. So it consolidates the entire R ecosystem of 20,000 R packages into the 100 best. And when I say the best, these are the ones that I use all the time. It saves you years of trying to figure out what to focus on. And it breaks learning R packages down by category. And that's really important, guys. You want to know why? It's because when you want to learn things like machine learning or text analysis, or you want to work in geospatial or time series or finance, no matter where you want to work, when you want to work in these fields, these are the packages that you need to learn. And you will get this at the end of the presentation. All right. I will not hand it out after. So you need to stay in the presentation to get it. All right. So let me ask you guys a question. I want to make this a little interactive. Why is Shiny important to you? Does anyone know why? Like, why are you here today? What do you know about Shiny? Why is it important? All right, I see Namrata, delivering data products. I see Steven, interactive reporting, dashboards, deploying models, distributing interactive web applications. Very good answers. All really good answers. Okay. I'm here to tell you though, that Shiny is going to make you a better data scientist, all right? If you apply it correctly, it can save your company a lot of money. I'm talking millions of dollars. And it can also help you on the call today land a $100,000 plus salary. And these are real job postings that are on Google right now for our Shiny jobs, okay? So if you learn this, no joke, you can have a six-figure income. Question for you guys. Who wants to be able to add Shiny projects to their interview portfolios? Can you put a yes in the chat if you're a job seeker? Okay, all right. Okay, seeing tons of yeses. All right, the interview portfolio is super critical. So if you're trying to get a job, you need to have Shiny apps in there. I'm telling you, It's an amazing booster. We'll have some examples of that. All right, who wants to get their data science projects put into production? So are you in a job and are you currently trying to get, your data products out there? All right, I'm seeing some yeses. Okay, good, because Shiny also helps you do that. All right, who wants to get a promotion to a senior data scientist position? Anybody in here trying to get a senior data science position? All right, okay, I see a couple of people. Yep, because it can help you do that too. And I'm going to show you that at the end. All right, if you said yes to any of those questions, then Shiny is the shortcut to getting there. All right, so let's get going. Today, I want you to mentally frame, close your eyes and say this: I am a Shiny developer. All right. So today, while you're on this call with me for the next hour, you are now officially a Shiny developer, and we're going to go through a business problem today. All right. But first, I need to give you a little bit of background. So now that we're doing this exercise, I want to ask you a question. What is a Shiny developer? Does anyone know that? Does anyone know what a Shiny developer is? All right. I'm going to give you guys an example. Before I was a master data science trainer, traveling the globe, training data science teams like S&P Global and Apple and so on, I used to get paid to make these. These are web applications, all right? And I did it while I was in my spare time. I actually had a full-time job, and it was one of these kind of ideas that I had was to be able to leverage my knowledge to create web applications for other companies. And I started selling those, okay? So today, I want to show you how, using the 3 big announcements from our studio or POSIT conference, can help us, me and you, be a better data science developer. And I'm not even talking just a Shiny developer, just a better data scientist, right? Somebody who can put apps and products into production and produce for your company. All right. So I want you to do that. That's kind of a side promise, a secondary promise today. So first promise, making it happen in 15 minutes. Second promise, I want you to become a better data science developer coming out of this. All right. All right. So first thing I learned at POSIT conference when I was there earlier, 10x improvement, was this thing called Bootstrap 5 or BS Lib. So this is a talk that was titled Designing for People is Hard. And this is Greg Swinehart of our studio. In that talk, he announced a 10x advancement in the ability to develop and customize Shiny apps using this thing called Bootstrap 5. And this was a massive improvement for companies that want state-of-the-art apps that look and feel amazing. I mean, you can see this app right here. It's much better than your default Hello World Shiny app, right? It looks a lot better. So that was the first major advancement, and that's a 10x improvement. The second one, they upped the ante, a 100x improvement. All right, guys. So this is amazing. And a talk by Nick Strayer titled A New Way to Build Your Shiny Apps UI. Nick explained his work on a new drag and drop user interface editor for Shiny that delivers a 100x improvement in the speed of building Shiny apps. Okay, so that's pretty amazing. A 100x improvement. Think about that. Something that used to take you, say, 100 hours now only takes you 1 hour. That's a big improvement. All right, and here's what it looks like. This is the new drag and drop Shiny editor. Well, spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about this a little bit later. All right, third was a 100 billionx improvement. And there's a reason why it's so much. So in a talk titled The Past and Future of Shiny, our studio's CTO, Joe Chang, delivered a 100 billion-fold improvement for building apps in Python by announcing Shiny for Python. So Shiny was traditionally an R software only. It's now available in Python, albeit it is the alpha version. So there's a lot of development being discussed, and it's going to take a while for it to mature. But still, this was really cool. So the big announcements, we're going to recap them. 3 big announcements. First was a 10x improvement. That was Bootstrap Lib 5. The next was a 100x improvement, and that was the Shiny UI editor. And then the next one is a 100 billionx improvement, right? And that's Shiny for Python. So there's one problem though. They failed to teach us how to use these, all right? So I want you to understand, I need to add some value. And this is where I come in. I'm going to teach you how to use each of these. Now, I had two options. I could have shown you a high-level overview of all of these in a simple training, or I could break these up into 3 amazing trainings that showcase the true power of each individually. So I chose to make this a 3-part series. So if you remember from the beginning, when I introduced this subject of the Shiny series, this is part 2 of 3. So I did choose to make it a 3-part series. Part 1 is Bootstrap Lib, and that was Learning Lab 78, which I covered a few weeks ago. All right. Part 2 is today, and this is the Shiny UI editor. That's what we're going to be focusing on. And I'm going to show you how to make an app in 15 minutes. And that's what we're covering in Learning Lab 79. So this is part 2. And then in a couple of weeks, we're going to have part 3, which is the Shiny for Python, right? The thing that Joe Chang introduced, that's going to be Learning Lab 80. We're going to give you guys a demo of Shiny in Python, the 100 billion X improvement. So 3-part series. Now, I want to make sure that you guys attend all of these trainings. These trainings are very important because we'll actually be using some of the elements from the last training. So Learning Lab 78, which was Bootstrap Lib, you're going to see that make an appearance here. And I don't have time to go through and really talk a lot about it. But if you go back to Learning Lab 78, it's there. All right. Okay. Now back to the business problem today. So remember, close your eyes. You're a Shiny developer. We're going to be talking about bicycles and data science apps. All right. So you work for this company. This is Specialized Bicycles. All right. And you made an important data analysis. Oh, by the way, you can open your eyes again. Don't keep them shut for this whole thing. Focus on the slide deck. So you made an important data analysis for your company, but you have a problem. All right. You've got a big presentation coming up and the CEO is going to be there, right? Oh, I'm getting nervous already. You don't have time to make a full-blown application like the one we did in Learning Lab 78. This is the BS Lib Lab, where we made this amazing Shiny app, but this is a custom Shiny app that took me hours and hours and hours to build. We don't have that. We only have 15 minutes to make an app. What can you do? That's the question. So before, it used to take me 4 hours or longer to make a 300-line Shiny app for a presentation. And I used to pull them up in my presentations because I knew that they would capture the attention of the CEO or the executives that were in the room, and I'd be able to show them some really important things and drill down much better than a presentation. But it used to take me like 4 hours to make one of these, right? And there's a reason that it took me 4 hours. So I have good news. We're going to make this app in the next 15 minutes. Now, it's not a completely, it's not the most feature intense app, but it is a full-blown Shiny app that will have functionality. And this is the type of app that would take me at least 3 to 4 hours to produce, right? Okay. So who's ready for a demo? Anybody ready? Anybody want to see this thing in the chat? Let me know. Let me know. All right, I'm seeing some. I'll bring it on. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, guys. All right. We're going to do this. Shiny, it's a 30-minute demo. How to make the web app that your CEO needs in under 15 minutes. Now, it is probably going to take me a little longer than 15 minutes because I have to explain some stuff, but I want to show you how you can do this in 15 minutes. All right. So this is the code that we're going to go through for today. And for my Learning Labs Pro members that are on the call or watching the recording of this, this is the project that you're going to get. So what we have here is a few different folders, and then we have a few R scripts. I'll just quickly go over. There's the data is in the data folder. We're going to have our bike sales data for Specialized. We got our scripts, or these are utility functions that we're going to pull in, and they just have some kind of pre-built functions that I made. And then the theme Specialized. This is going to be the theme. So if you remember from Learning Lab 78, the Bootstrap Lib, this is where I'm housing my theme at. So we're going to end by applying that theme. Just a quick quick point. So I've already built some scripts, and I've made this 01 salesanalysis.r. I'm going to briefly show that to you guys just so you get the context for the application that we're building. So keep in mind, guys, the 15 minutes that I'm talking about starts from once you have an analysis complete to the 15 minutes for building the Shiny app. So we're going to try and automate this this analysis with a Shiny app. Some prereqs for this. I want to make this lab as reproducible as possible. So make sure you install from mdancho84 the grid layout package using this, and also the Shiny UI editor fork that I made, just to make sure that this lab does stay reproducible. I'm going to comment those back out. I'm going to run through the analysis real quick. I'm just loading a few R packages. I'm going to source the scripts that is from this OO scripts folder. You can see it pulled in these functions. I'll explain what those functions do in a second. I'm going to read in my processed data. I'm going to explain the data really quick. This is what we call transactional data. It has a timestamp, an order ID, an order line number, a state that the person that had purchased these bikes, a quantity of bikes that they purchased, the price, the extended price, which is just the quantity times the price, and then several categories, things like mountain and road. That's category 1. Category 2 is kind of like a subcategory, mountain, over mountain, mountain trail, and so on. Road, elite road, and road endurance road are types of subcategories. Frame material and other things, but those are the main things. So this is a transaction. It's a record of each transaction that a company makes. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of filtering first. So this would be like what we automate in our app. So the user is going to maybe select, say, a date range, and they might decide if they want to drill in to, say, not look at all of the bikes, all of the transactions, but just a transaction, whether it was mountain or road, and so on. So these are going to be the part that we automate. I'm going to just automate this part with a filtering. So if I run these, Control Enter, we can see that I went from 15,644 down to 8,000 rows. And you can see that these are the transactions between this date range here. And then you can see that these are all category 1 equals mountain. So these are actually going to be in our app. They're going to be little buttons and check boxes and things that we click on. All right. Visualization 1. This is the first thing that we're going to add to our, here, let me make sure I got this. Oh, I didn't save that. I got to run this part here to save that, and then process data filtered. We're going to make a visualization, or we've got this visualization. It's going to just calculate the total sales by each state. We're going to have that as one of our visualizations. And then our second visualization in our app is going to be this process data filtered, aggregate time series, and we're going to plot a time series, right? So we've got this this time series that we're producing. Here, hold on one second. Plot time series. Let me do something real quick. I just saw something in the one script. I want to make sure it makes a plotly plot. Yeah, I was making a few edits here before the call. So here, hold on one second. I source that again. I want to make sure that this is an interactive. Okay, cool. Now we got an interactive one. All right, sweet. Okay, so that's the analysis. We're going to move on, and what we're going to do is do the Shiny app UI. So we're going to this Shiny app UI demo. We're going to try and make this plot and this plot in a Shiny app in 15 minutes. All right, again, prerequisite packages. So I'm on the Shiny UI editor demo script. Make sure that you have these versions of the grid layout in the Shiny UI editor that I forked. And step 1, we're just going to make a template app. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to run the Shiny UI editor. So let's run this thing. We're going to make a selection. The first is going to be that we want to use a template. So you see down here, it says we want to select 1, use a template, and then select 2. We're going to select this Chick Weights Navbar page template. So number 2. And what that's doing is it's firing up the Shiny app UI editor. Now, this app, how this editor works is if I check out the app preview, this is the preview of the application. And you can see it comes with a little bit of niceties, right? So it's got it's got this like little drag and slider, and it changes the weights over time, and it's a multi-page app, which is pretty cool, but it's probably not how you want it to look. So we're actually going to delete out a bunch of this stuff, and I'm going to delete this element, delete this element, and I'm going to change this to this is going to be my sales dashboard. And I'm just going to have this be main. And I'm going to change, I'm actually just going to delete this element and delete this element. So this type of, you see how quick and fast I'm manipulating this thing? I'm going to put a grid container in here. And what's cool is I can just like drag and drop stuff. So a numeric input, if I just click done, it'll put the numeric input. I can kind of drag this down. I can resize it. So if this is like the sidebar, whoops, here, let me do this. Okay, and you see you can kind of resize. One of the other cool things, one of the things I want to do is if I hit this little plus over here, you can add another column. And this is cool because then I can drag up here. And what I want to do is I want to have some inputs. I actually don't want a numeric input. I want to have a slider input. And this is going to be for the date range that I do. So I'm going to do a slider, and then I'm going to do a checkbox group input. And this is going to be for the mountain road. So I'm going to do choice A, mountain, choice B is going to be road. Make sure I spell that right. Okay. And you see how quickly that is to update. And then what I want to do is I'm going to take a plot output. I'm going to throw this in here. I'm just going to hit done. I'm actually going to drag this to the top because I want this to take up this whole section here. And then what I want to do is over here, I'm actually going to add in, and this is going to be radio buttons for like if I want to organize by day, daily, weekly, monthly. So I'm going to give this radio button some options. I'm going to do D is going to be day. I'm going to do W, which is going to be weekly. We're going to add in M for monthly. And I'm going to add in Q for quarterly. And I'm just going to leave it at that for now. Okay. And then I'm going to add in one more plot output. So this is going to be kind of the main look of and feel of this app, right? So I want to put my time series over here. I want them to be able to kind of adjust it to a daily, weekly, or monthly schedule or aggregation level. And then I'm going to have the map over here. And that's not this, these radio buttons are only going to affect this chart, but like these buttons are going to affect both charts. All right. So that's my goal. You guys see how easy that was? That was pretty easy, right? Okay. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to show you what that just created. So you can see that here, this thing is running. I'm going to hit the escape button. So that shuts down. If I go back over here, you can see now that it lost the connection to the back end, right? You can always fire it back up just by rerunning this code here. But, we've kind of got the basics done. Now, the main thing I want to say is, you know why it used to take me 4 hours to build one of these apps? It's because of doing what I just showed you there. That UI stuff, like messing around with the UI, that is time intensive processes if you want to code that from scratch. So here's this new app -1 that this thing created for me. And if I go in here, there's an app.r file. All right. And you can see here all of the code that is used to create that UI is now all saved over here. All right. So there's a couple of crazy things you gotta know. First, it's going to use this thing from grid layout called this grid container, and it's going to have these areas, right? So if you look at that, so if I fire up this app real quick, I'll show you what I mean. Let me save selected. All right, so I've got this app fired up, right? Not super impressive quite yet. Oh man, start new session. What? Didn't like that. I think I know why it did that. It's because I got some stuff down here, I bet. I'm just gonna, because none of these are being shown right yet. So let me see. Let me make sure I got, oh, a little bit too far. There we go. All right, save that. Okay, let me run this app again one more time. Hopefully it doesn't blow up on me. Okay, so the main thing here that we were doing, this is like literally what used to take me more time than anything, is just making this thing. All right, so these area zeros, remember how I like dragged this down? So there was like two areas. Remember how it was like two rows? This first area goes down here, and so this quadrant, area 2, connects up to one of these other grid cards. So if this radio buttons is area, what was that, area 2 in this top right quadrant, that area 2 is right down here. This is my radio buttons, and you can see how the placement, it's getting placed in this grid card, this area, and then you can add buttons in that specific area. So that's what it's doing underneath the hood. I just wanted to explain that because that was one of the most, like, that was the mistake that I made early on. I had no idea what this area assignment meant, but that's what it means in the grid. So that was a big mistake. Cost me a lot of time messing around with this because I like deleted the wrong stuff out. So just make sure you get that. All right. So the next thing that we're going to do. So I want to kind of give you a process, right? A process to kind of grow into your apps. So in this Shiny UI editor demo, next, what I want to do is I want to move on to step 2, which is going to be to convert to an unconnected dashboard. And I'm going to hook up some Plotly plots in there. So we actually have some plots being shown. All right, so this is going to be part of a framework or a process, right? So it's going to be a 4-step process. You're going to see step 1, 2, 3, 4. Step 1 was just getting the template up and running and get it in the right format. Once you have that done, you just quit the app. It saves it as this app.r. But now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a copy. All right. So and this is my specific process. So show folder in new window. I'm just going to make a quick copy. So if I do copy and then paste, and then I'm going to just rename this web app 2. All right. Okay. All right, cool. So now I have a fresh copy, and I'm gonna use this one to like mess around with, right? So I'm gonna create a copy, and then I'm gonna add some libraries and scripts and data. Now I'm gonna do something to the project options, maybe global options. I want to adjust my pane layout real quick. I want to add a column, apply that. Okay. Okay. So I want to keep this open because this is going to be my guide here, and we're going to mess around with this. And we got in the viewer over here. I'm going to stop this app, and I'm going to close out of this. And I've got my new app 2. I'm going to fire this one up here in a second. Put that over here. And this is going to give me my guide. So this is what I want to try and accomplish in the second step. So I want to convert to an unconnected dashboard. So I'm going to add my libraries, script, and data from my O1 analysis. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these lines here, 11 through 25. I'm going to pop that in over here underneath the libraries. Okay. So now when I run this app, it's going to actually pull in my data first. Now it's not going to look any different, but this is kind of my process, right? Because I'm converting my analysis into like an automated Shiny dashboard. And this is just like step 2. All right. The next thing I got to do, I got to hook up my Plotly plots. So here's how we're going to do that. What I'm going to do, I need to have this process data filter in there. So that's the next thing I'm going to copy. But I need to make this what's called reactive. So I have to go down to the server in my app. And what I'm going to do is above this output, I'm going to make a reactive process filter. And this is going to be a reactive function. So if you guys have ever done any coding in Shiny before, so reactive functions, it's the idea of being able to use these inputs to user inputs to process things. Okay. Now we aren't going to process anything quite yet. All I'm going to do is just take my process data tibble, and we're just going to just return this. It technically doesn't even need to be reactive, but we're gonna call it a reactive thing first. So I'm gonna delete out all of this stuff. So we've got render plot. I'm gonna change this to render plotly. Next, and I'm gonna call this over here. And when you call anything that's reactive, so this is a reactive data frame, you got to put parentheses around it or at the end of it. And then what this is going to do is it's going to get piped into my sales analysis. We're gonna copy this part here. Okay. So if I throw that in here, it's going to do the aggregate geospatial and plot geospatial. Now I want to get this hooked up. So there's this area right here. So that's this in this grid area. It's this area 1, which covers this part here and this part here. It's all one area 1. So area 1 is right here. And in this plot output, I need to change this to plotly output. And the output ID, I want to scroll back down here. I'm going to name this not line plots, but I'm going to name this geospatial plot. All right. So that's going to be this one, area 1, geospatial plot. And remember, this needs to be plotly output. And then we're going to do the same thing down here, plotly output. And this is going to be, we're going to delete out all this stuff. And this is going to be my time plot or time series plot. And I'm going to go over here, basically just copy this and throw this in right here and make sure I put the parentheses around this. Okay. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to stop this app and I want to just try and run this. I may get an error. Let's see. We got one here. Okay. Looks like the time series plot is not being shown. So I want to see what we got here for plotly output. It needs to be time series plot. All right, let's save that. I'm going to refresh. See if we get the time series plot. Grid as an area 3. It should be time series plot, output ID, plotly output. And why are you not showing? All right. Okay, hold on 1 second, guys. Process data filtered tibble. It needs to be render plotly. That makes a difference. And let's refresh that. Okay, reload the app. Here, let me escape out of this and rerun it. Why aren't you running now? File, new app.2. Run the app. Is that going to go? Why aren't you running? Here, we'll just do a session restart R. Yeah, sometimes this gets a little finicky. All right, run the app. Run the app, run the app, run the app. All right, barring app.r. Run the app. Okay, that's weird. Let me run this. Library shiny. We'll do it the old school way. Oops. Okay, we'll run it from the console. There it goes. All right. So now we've got our 2 visualizations in here. Okay. Now the problem is none of these buttons here are connected. So and this slider outputs, these both need to be selected, and none of them are all connected. We just put the visualizations into our Shiny app. All right. So what I'm going to do here is that brings me to step 3. Now, next thing I want to do is I want to connect the reactive user inputs. So we're going to create a copy called new app-3. and we're going to hook up the controls. All right. So I'm going to stop this for now. I'm going to go back in here to my files. I'm going to create a new folder, or whoops, not new. Yeah, just open it. There. We're going to do a copy, paste, and this is going to be new app 3. Okay. And again, this is my process. So now that I've got a basic app working, but it's not hooked up, my next step is to connect the reactive user inputs. All right. So I'm creating a copy here of, called new app 3. That's this thing right here. And then what I'm going to do in here is I'm going to hook up the controls. So there's all these like little buttons and such. That's what I'm going to be working on next. Okay. So I'm going to close out of this. I'm going to close out of this. I'm done with my sales analysis. I want to move this over here. Can I do that? There we go. Come on, baby. There we go. All right. Make this a little bigger so you guys can all see it. All right. So this is the app.r file that's in this new app-3. And what I'm going to do is I'm now, excuse me, going to go through, now that I have my app kind of set up, what I want to do is I want to hook up these slider inputs. So, or what all these user inputs. Here, I just want to make sure, just in the interest of time, I think I have this all set up over here. Let's go to app, this one. Bear with me a second, guys. All right, cool. So I'm going to, instead of calling this my input ID, I'm going to call this date range. I'm going to give it a label here of H3 date range. And H3 is just a header of 3. The min is going to be 2011-01-01. The max date is going to be 2016-01-01. Make sure I put 2016. And then the value that it starts with is just going to be the beginning date, 2011-01-01. All right, width is 100%. That looks good. All right, so if I fire this up, let me run this app. Error max dash min 2011. Oh, I need to make these as date. So bear with me a second, guys. So all of these dates, we got to convert to date. So I'm going to do as underscore date. And then over here, Control Alt down, and I can put parentheses in. All right, save, run the app. All right, cool. So it might be a little tough. I'm actually going to shrink this so you guys can see it. So this is now what the date range looks like. You can see 2013. You can customize this, but it's just like a slider right here with date ranges that we're going to pass through. All right. Now, I just want to get this first one hooked up because that'll give me some confidence, right, that I'm on the right track. So how we're going to do that is the only thing that we're going to do is this left instead of as date. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that input $, date underscore range, right? So all we're doing is we're filtering this reactive data table or data frame, and we're just going to replace some of the things that do the filters. That's what these two filters are going to do in essence. So let me just double check that this thing works. So I saved it. I'm going to refresh my app, and I should be able to tell if this sucker is working, right? Because this should get shorter. It should go from 2016 to 2014 if I drag this, and let's see what happens. And it does, right? Okay, it's cool. So we're automating our analysis now. So just that filtering mechanism, every time I filter this, it's going to change the date range. See how it did that? All right, cool. So you guys are all seem like you're on the same page. Was that cool, guys? Let me know in the chat. Was that pretty neat? Okay. All right. So the next thing that we need to change here is this checkbox group input. And so for that one, this is going to be my category 1, and I like to keep the IDs the same name as the column that I'm affecting. So this, instead of checkbox group, which is what gets shown over here, this checkbox group label, I'm going to change this label and I'm going to do another H3 header. And what I'm going to call it is product category. All right. Line these up a little bit. I want to line these up. So choices looks good to me. But what I want by default is for both to be selected. So there's another argument here called selected. And I'm just going to select both choices, both mountain and road, right? Because I want both of these to be selected by default. All right. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go down here to my filter here, and instead of in mountain, which is what we had by default, what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter it by that input $ category _1. All right. So I'm going to save that and refresh it. All right. So let's see what happens, guys. Let's see what happens. If I click so right now our peak is at about $2.5 million in we'll say April of 2015. So if I take off mountain though, we can see it drops to about 1.135. So this seems to be working. All right. And if I take them both off, yeah, you're going to get an error. You know, this is just a basic app. But if I add just mountain, you can see it's like 1.3 million. And if I add back in road, you're going to see this jumps back up to 2.5. All right, cool. That's working. We have one more set of buttons that we have to hook up before we continue. So in here, we've got this day, week, month, quarterly, and so on. So what I want to do is I want to get this to toggle how this is aggregated. So right now, by default, if I scroll down here, it's set to monthly. So we're gonna swap that out. Another thing real quick, I want to customize the look of this. I don't like how they go down, so I want to make this inline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do selected equals monthly by default, and I'm going to do inline and set that equal to true. All right. So let me just update that real quick. I want to see what it looks like. So see how it's now inline and monthly is selected. That's what we want. So by default, it's going to start out with monthly, but then we're going to be able to tweak this to quarterly aggregation and so on. So what I'm going to do is I want to rename. So the label is not going to be radio buttons. We're going to do again an H3 header, and I'm going to call this time unit. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the input ID, and I'm just going to have this be time unit. Okay, so time unit, and I'm going to pop that in down here instead of this monthly. I'm just going to do input $time unit. All right, save that, update. Okay, so we got our map. It's now saying time unit, and now if I go to weekly, it looks like it's at a weekly frequency. If I go to daily, we're now at a daily frequency. If I go to quarterly, we're now at a quarterly. And if I go back to monthly, we're at monthly. Cool. All right. So step 3 is now done. We've now converted this to reactive user inputs, but this isn't going to win any competitions here, with this basic layout, right? We want to class it up a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to step 4. And what this step is to customize. So we want to customize. So we're going to create a copy, a new app-4, and we're going to tweak the theme. And I have a special theme that we're going to use. So let me stop this. I'm going to go into my files, and I'm just going to make a copy of this real quick. So just do show folder, a new window, copy, paste, rename. 4. All right. And let's see here. Okay. So new app.4, I'm going to drill in there, and I'm going to exit out of this app, and I'm going to open up this app.r file. All right. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to tweak the theme. So this actually is really related to what we learned a couple of weeks ago in Learning Lab 78, which was the BS Lib library, where we came up with a Nike theme, a Coca-Cola theme, and we had like the reds and the blacks, for black for Nike, red for Coca-Cola. And then we had like their logos in there. So we got in this themes here, I've got this theme specialized, and I'm going to show you how to adjust this script here real quick to use it. So there is one little snippet of code in here that I'm going to copy and paste. So I'll save that for a second, for just a second. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to source, and I'm going to use here, and I'm going to source from my 00_themes, the theme _specialized .r file. It's just this file right here. If I run this, what it's going to do in my environment is it's going to pull in this app theme. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here and I'm going to remove this BSlib theme, and I'm just going to put my app theme in here. All right. And let me see. Let me just double check. All right. So, there's also the title here. Instead of sales dashboard, what I'm going to do is I'm going to specifically call out title. I want this to be specialized title. So that we're going to throw in specialized title here. Okay. And I want to show you this. It's going to look a little weird when I do this. So it pulled in the specialized, but it's not in line here. So I actually do need to use a little bit of extra code in here. So I'm going to copy and paste a snippet in here just to make it a little bit easier on myself. Shift tab. Here, we'll just do this. Try to keep the spacing correct. All right. So what this is going to do is it's going to move this so it's just all in line here. So let me save this. And the good news is you don't need to be an HTML expert. You just once you do this once, you can just like copy and paste it into all of your apps. So cool. Now, if I open this app up, I've got my specialized theme app, and I'm ready to roll. So how am I doing on time? We're at 2:50. I think I started around 2:30. So that's like 20 minutes, right, to make this app, and it's fully functional. Like you can walk into a presentation with your CEO, right? Pull this bad boy up, talk about the sales. When he asks, hey, well, what was our sales just in last year? You just scroll right here. Oh, this is our sales last year. This is how it kind of affected us, over the last year. This is what we're looking at. And then he starts asking, all right, well, what about, just start the mountain bikes? Okay, well, we'll take off road. This is what the mountain bike, patterns look like. Oh, what about on a monthly scale? Well, this is what it looks like on a monthly scale. All right. So you see, like you go into that presentation with your boss or your CEO or your executive leadership team, and they're like, oh man, this guy Matt, he knows something. Like this is pretty impressive. All right. So that is the power here. All right, that concludes what we've got here. Now I do have some conclusions that I want to go through with you. I'm going to stop this app, and I'm going to switch over to my slide deck. So conclusions, guys. You just got your CEO a data science app in about 15 minutes. All right, for 20 minutes, five extra minutes for explaining, but you got in about 20 minutes, you made an app. Is this what we did? Can you answer for me in the chat? I want to know what you guys think we did in this lesson. It's okay. Don't be bashful. Just throw it out there. Blurt it out there. We demoed a new shiny UI builder. We showed value. Okay, you're getting closer. Quick prototype. Very close, Johnny-O. All right. Completed a data science project. Excellent. Saved time, which equals money. Okay, here we go. We're getting warmer. All right. So what did we really do, guys? This is what we really did. We just discovered a 4-step framework for building web apps 100 times faster than anyone else in your office. Let's just wrap our heads around it. Your competition is producing an app in, say, a day, maybe 2 days, which is normal. You're producing apps in 15 minutes. That is the power of what we just learned today. Okay. Here's the reality, guys. Who do you think that your CEO is going to go to the next time he needs an analysis automated and put into production? Is it going to be the guy that takes 2 days to get him something? Or is it the guy that comes prepared and within 15 minutes has exactly what he needs, the CEO needs for that presentation? Who do you think it is? It's you. It's you. Like, it's not going to be your competition. It's not going to be your peers. It's going to be you. You are the power. All right. All right. One question for you guys. Do you know how this knowledge will help you get a data science job? We talked a lot about like when you actually have a job, but what about when you're just trying to get a data science job? Does anyone, can you tell me? Can you tell me in the chat, how do you think this will help you get a data science job? Does anyone have the answer? Showcase your abilities, tech interview. Yep. Portfolio. There it is. It's your interview portfolio. This is Matt Rosinski. He's the lead data scientist at Domstra Technology. He says here, during the interview process, I demonstrated my data science skills with a Shiny app. Your courses helped me land 2 competing offers and secure my new job as a lead data scientist. So literally, he just followed this playbook. Come in with a Shiny app, be prepared to talk about something that they want to talk about, show them the app that demonstrates value. He got hired because of it. And in fact, he got 2 job offers because of it. But there is a big problem. Okay. This is another one of my students. He says here, and he's not in the Shiny courses, he says, building apps that get you hired is tough work. He says, I have spent the whole week trying to develop a Shiny app. I just realized it requires a lot of time to be trained into Shiny and to understand how it works, and clearly no further progress on the course. Well, that's why you need a course on Shiny. So if it were that easy, this was a response from Alexander. If it were that easy, then data scientists would be everywhere like mushrooms. And I love this quote here because it's the truth. So you guys just attending this call with me today have a secret formula, but can you apply it? Well, as you can see, it still can be quite challenging. So why is it so hard to make apps? That's the next question. It's because there isn't an A to Z path to becoming a 6-figure data scientist. Okay. So I made one. Here's what it does. Here's a few examples from some of my students that have taken some of my programs. All right. This is David Espinola. He says, your courses gave me the confidence to get through the interview process. And he got a job offer from Microsoft as a machine learning support engineer. Okay. Not bad. This is Justin. He's the lead data scientist at Northwestern Mutual. He says here, in less than 6 months after starting my first BSU course, I had fully transitioned into a role as a lead data scientist, and my life is better for it. This is game changing. You know, I know he's just started a new family with his wife, and he's got a child now. And this is a big deal, being able to get a lead data science position at a premier company, a Fortune 500 company like Northwestern Mutual. He did it in 6 months. It can be done fast. All right. This is Ben Wynn Morris. Says, after 5 years of struggling, I now have 2 job offers. He was struggling to find the right opportunity. Says the material learned on your courses has paid off. Okay. And then one final one, Jennifer. This is Jennifer Cooper. She's the VP of Strategic Analytics at JP Morgan Chase. And she says, thanks to Matt and what I've learned so far, I was able to do an in-depth analysis following his business science framework and complete the project using our markdown, the polished and finished product, and impressed the hiring manager so much he was willing to fast track an offer. So this is how you get a job, but we haven't talked about your options. Here they are. Option A, you can go back to school. It's going to be a lot of money and 4 years. And by the time you get out, the tools will all have changed. And companies need to fill positions right now. So that's not a good option. Brings me to option B. You can learn it yourself. This is what I did. It took me 5 years of trial and error. It was painful. I felt like an imposter the entire time. And it was a real struggle. Cost me the biggest cost was my time. Plus, companies need to fill positions right now. Not going to help you. Option C, use a low-cost data science school. I won't name any names. I also tried this. Didn't help. The reason is because they don't want you to succeed. As soon as you become a data scientist, this interrupts their precious subscription revenue, and you will quit because you have become a data scientist. You no longer need them. So, what if there was another option? Option D, you and I can work together. I love this option. Here's why. I can teach you, but you must be 1, motivated, 2, able to dedicate 10 hours per week, 3, willing to follow my system exactly, 4, willing to communicate with me as soon as you get stuck. Question for you guys. Does that sound fair to you? Do you guys want to see what this looks like? Working with me. Fair. Okay. All right. Good. All right. So it sounds like you guys want to see my A to Z path. Who wants to see it? You guys want to see it? All right. All right. Okay. All right. I'll continue then. So it turns out that there's several skills that you need in order to get a job in data science. Okay. You need to start with foundational skills. That's the first thing. Then you need to move on to business problem solving skills, because companies really want you to solve problems. They actually don't really care about your data science. What they truly want is problems to be solved. So you need to get those skills. The third one is a special type of problem called a time series problem. So you need to have time series analysis and forecasting skills. And then you have to have the ability to build tools for yourself, just like we did on this learning lab. And then what you need to do is you need to be able to build tools for your company. And that's really where you unlock the true value for your future company. If you're trying to get a job, or if you're trying to become a senior data scientist, this is actually where this is what gets you that position as well. So let's talk about positions. Data analyst is the first one. You just have to be decent enough with R, and you can get a data analyst position. But if you want to become a data scientist, you need these next 3 skills: problem solving, time series forecasting, and building tools for yourself. If you have those down, you can get a job as a data scientist. And if you want to progress up the ladder to senior data scientist and make the $150,000 to $200,000 a year that they make, the life-changing lead data scientist, then you need to be able to build tools for your company. Does that make sense? Okay. There's another problem, though. We haven't talked about this. The A to Z fashion. No one teaches you A to Z, step by step, the exact way to do it. Until now. So this is where I come in. I've actually built a system that does this, and we're going to talk about that since you guys have agreed. So the first one is the data and science for business. Okay. So in data science for business part 1, here's what we do. You learn the foundations of data science, so that way you can perform basic machine learning. You can produce high quality reports that businesses can use to generate insights, clean and work with data, visualize data which produce those insights, and you can do machine learning foundations, and you know the algorithms. These are all of the general foundational steps that are needed for all data science positions. You get this in the first course. Okay. So today, what you're going to get is you're going to get Data Science for Business Part 1, a $599 value. Next is business problem solving skills. And that's where the second course comes in. I'm going to give you Data Science for Business Part 2. And in Data Science for Business Part 2, you will solve a $5 million per year business problem. Remember, guys, this is exactly what companies are hiring you for. It's not for your data science skills. It's for your problem solving skills. You're going to use a repeatable framework that can be applied to almost any business problem, and you're going to solve the entire business problem step by step with me by your side. You're going to use advanced tools like automated machine learning and explainable AI, key skills for your resume, and you're going to be able to develop financial decision-making using return on investment to show your organizational savings. This is what they really, really want. If you can demonstrate that, they're going to be very excited about you as an interview prospect, all right? So by the midpoint of this course, you are using state-of-the-art H2O automated machine learning, one of my favorite tools, to produce hundreds of predictive models. And you can see like where the scroll bar is. This is midway through the course. You're doing modeling with one of my favorite softwares. And to prove how powerful this course is, this is Augie. Augie is a student of mine, and he applied what he learned from this course, and it saved his organization, and it's right in here, $400,000 per month, which equates to about $5 million per year. Does anyone know what happens when you save your company $5 million per year? Well, it's right down here, guys. This was a major consideration factor in my promotion to analytics manager. His company promoted him to an analytics manager. So you're getting data science for business part 1, data science for business part 2, a $1,598 value. Next is the time series skills. This is what you really want to do if you really want to wow them in the interview. It's what Matt Rosinski did. So you're going to get my high performance time series course. In my high performance time series course, you're going to solve a special type of problem that costs organizations millions of dollars per year. You're going to learn strategies from 4 time series competitions, and you're going to use custom software that I personally wrote to make forecasts at scale, thousands and thousands of forecasts. You're going to also use advanced techniques such as machine learning, deep learning, and feature engineering. Again, guys, this is a state-of-the-art course. In just the first 30% of this course, you are building powerful forecasts like the one shown here. And can you see how accurate this is? I mean, it literally follows the spikes and it catches them just at the right point in time. And that's only 30% of the way through the course. Imagine what happens when you get the whole way down and you've learned all of the other cool stuff that comes along with it. All right. So another student, Amit. I want to talk about him for a second. He's a student that used the time series course to get his new job. All right. Here's what he says. He says, I want to say I'm extremely grateful to have found you in your courses last year. I used to feel imposter syndrome. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's when you don't feel confident and you lose confidence and you start to doubt yourself and you don't think you're ever going to become something, in this case, a data scientist. He says here, I would not have found my new job if it wasn't for you. He then sent me the actual report that he used to get his new job. And he said, this helped me move into the final rounds. I was able to do everything within 2 days. And if it wasn't for your courses, it would have definitely taken me longer. And I don't think my results would have been half as good to move into the final rounds. Pretty powerful for somebody who had imposter syndrome to being able to move into final rounds and compete against other data scientists and land his job at PwC as a machine learning senior associate. That's the proof. So here's what you're getting, guys. Data Science for Business Part 1, Data Science for Business Part 2, my high performance time series course, a total value of $2,397. And then next is building tools for yourself. So this is where you really complete the requirements for a data scientist, right? So what you're going to get is my Shiny Web Applications Part 1 course, all right? In Shiny Web Applications Part 1, you're going to learn the foundations for production for data science, okay? Again, production is taking your algorithms and producing a result with them. That's what you're going to learn how to do in this course. You learn how to build web applications like the one that you saw here today that we did in 15 minutes, but at a more advanced level. You're going to learn how to automate key business analysis and processes. You're going to learn how to empower your company to make data-driven decisions for years to come. And just in the first 25% of this course, you're already building Shiny apps that have geospatial maps like the one shown here and date range inputs to be able to give your organization the tools that they need. All right. So you can see the bar is 25% and you're making this. Pretty impressive. Okay. So here's what you're going to get, guys. Data Science for Business Part 1, Part 2, my High Performance Time Series course, and my Shiny Web Applications Part 1 course, a $3,196 value. And finally, you're going to get the skills to build tools for your company. And this is really important as you become a senior data scientist. This is what they're going to expect from you. So it's not just building tools for yourself that you can show off in a PowerPoint presentation to your CEO. No, you actually need to affect teams. And this is what you learn in this course. So in Shiny Web Applications Part 2, you are going to learn cloud technologies like AWS and Docker. You're going to learn how to scale and deploy data science. You're going to learn how to add security authentication in, which is what's needed for the enterprise. You're going to learn how to connect to backend databases, customize the user interface, integrate an API, and basically everything that you need to know in order to build and deploy applications in the enterprise. Okay. So the amazing thing with this course is that you don't just build enterprise grade applications like the one shown here. This is a stock analyzer multi-user application, but you actually deploy it, which is what your company, your future company needs you to do. So you deploy it using AWS cloud technology, Git and GitHub for production code, and Docker and Docker Hub for the production environment. These are the exact same skills that companies pay senior data scientists $150,000 per year or more for, okay? And just to give you guys a glimpse of what the future looks like after this course, I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret. This is Mohana. He took this course last, and this is what got him all of these raises. So he says, after your entry into my life, just in another 6 months of 3.5 raises, which are his sucky raises before he took the courses. Once he took them, he got a 10% hike. Then after another 6 months, a 26% hike. And then in another 2 months, a 40% hike. So I don't know if you guys know this, but that's a 94% raise in a total of 8 months, basically doubling his salary, 8 months. So he began this is his secret. He began outproducing all of his coworkers threefold by using the processes that I teach in my courses. And then one final example. When you learn these tools, I'm telling you guys, you can win the job interview. So this is Chris Seelig. Chris here, he's a student of mine, and he just got his first data science job as a global energy company. He says, hey folks, I just want to let you know, because of all our courses Matt has provided, I landed my first data scientist role at a global energy company. Setting up Shiny dashboards in AWS was extremely helpful during my interview, as the people interviewing me were looking for someone that has some knowledge of cloud technologies. So Shiny plus cloud technologies, nobody else is coming to the interview with that. You will blow them out of the water. So here's where you're getting today, guys. Data Science for Business Part 1, Part 2, my High Performance Time Series course, and my Shiny Web Apps 1 and 2 courses. This is a total value of $3,995. Now, you're not going to pay that, so don't worry, guys. You're not even going to pay the $2,500 price on my website. As a reward for investing in your education today, you're going to get a special offer. This is the R-Track Data Science Career Deal, and I'm going to give you a steal for $19.99. That's 50% off. You guys are getting access to that today.